Hello everyone, this is Fantasy Ask and welcome back to Vampire Clan in ClanGen, the Warrior Cats clan generator game. When we left off in the previous episode, we had some failed negotiations with the vampire hunters in this ongoing war, but we also saw some, brightness within the group with Twilight Fade Whisper, who finally was able to overcome the loss of his mate Lightsong and get back to work whispering between Owlfeather and Pinespeck. That whispering session was very much needed. We also, I think, ended off on a bit of a terrifying note because Hazelpelt, our Nightstalker, tried to cross into one of the vampire hunting territories to gather some herbs. He got caught out by a patrol who then went on to mangle his tail. So he managed to make it back to camp, but we kind of weren't sure what was going to happen with him going forward because the mangled tail can be very dangerous for the vampires. And guys, things have taken a turn for the worse. So it is our final turn of Leaf Bear, and I think it is probably the cruelest turn yet. We are at Moon 47. Let's go ahead, check up on the leaders den real quick. As you can see, we have hostilities with all of the vampire hunters right now. Let's see what's happened. Vampire Clan does not have enough healthy medicine cats. Cats will be sick/hurt for longer and have a higher chance of dying. Vampire Clan's cats can't stop themselves from instinctively unsheathing their claws upon encountering a Wind Clan cat. Blue Jay picks herself up out of her nest and begins the day anew, a fresh conviction in her heart. So she recovered from, her grief of a Lightsong. Quiet Flight gazes up into Silverpelt and finds that finally the grief has begun to lessen, so she overcame her grief of Lightsong as well. And then Hazelpelt died from a mangled tail. So that was just as deadly as we had thought. He didn't even last a moon before he passed on. And this is yet another huge change in the clan, but also within the inner circle, because he served as a Nightstalker for a long, long time. And I feel so bad for Quiet Flight, who has only just gotten over the death of her fellow fledgling, Lightsong, and is now having to grieve for her mate. A horrible battle occurred between Vampire Clan and Wind Clan patrols after the two patrols traded insults at the border. Iris Freckle is left badly injured. So yeah, things got bad from bad to worse, because not only did Hazelpelt die, but Hazelpelt's daughter, his favorite daughter Iris Freckle, also got attacked by patrol, vampire hunters, and now she is badly injured with, I think, a mangled leg, which is equally as dangerous as a mangled tail. I think Iris Freckle was so enraged by the death of her father that she kind of volunteered to go on this patrol, which was probably going to be a dangerous one. And as soon as they came into contact with the vampire hunters, she couldn't hold herself back, blaming them obviously for her father's death. And I think she probably put herself on the line more than she needed to, and now she's badly injured, and she might end up dying from the similar sort of injury that killed her father. I feel so bad for this particular family. They're getting hit by one thing after another. Bloompaw gazes up into Silverpelt and finds that finally the grief has begun to lessen. So Bloompaw managed to pull herself out of her grief and is hopefully going to be able to start her life as a proper fledgling. But at this point, she's kind of missed out on half of her training. Master Burnleaf can only spend a moment of Hazelpelt's vigil before he withdraws to silently curse the world that took Hazelpelt from him. In the days to come, he barely stirs from his nest. Quiet Flight struggles to come to grips with the fact that Hazelpelt will no longer be a part of her life to see her through the hard times. In the following days, she visits his grave, gazing blankly, unmovingly at the ground for hours on end. Another couple that has been broken up by the war. Quiet Flight and Hazelpelt, I think they had probably the longest time together out of all of the couples that we've actually seen, in terms of how long they took with each other during the whispering sessions before they had their litter, and then even lasting well into their litter's adulthood. Like, they stayed together after their kittens were born. I think they've probably had the longest lasting relationship, and now they've been separated by death. That breaks my heart, especially because when Hazelpelt was alive, his love for Quiet Flay was pretty much maxed out. It was like always, ever since he fell in love with her and that kind of love meter started climbing, he kind of hit the max, I feel like, very quickly around the time the kittens were born, and it has pretty much stayed maxed out for the entirety of their time together. And now that's no longer going to be there. The past moon, Hazelpelt has taken their place in StarClan. Vampire clan mourns their loss, and the clanmates will miss this spot they took up in their lives. Moments of their life are shared in stories around the circle of mourners as those that were closest to them take them to their final resting place. So let's take a look at the cats to see how they're doing. You know, yeah, Quiet Flight is obviously mourning, Burnleaf is mourning, and Iris Freckle is now injured, very, very badly injured. And if she doesn't recover from this, she could end up following her father into StarClan, which would, I think, be quite bittersweet. In one sense, you know, then she wouldn't be separated from her father and closest parent. In another sense, then she leaves behind everyone else, and it's going to be a huge loss for the clan and her family. Okay. Medicine Cat Den. And obviously that means we have had some changes. So Master Burnleaf, he and Shirring Star obviously still have their positions, but Twilight Fate has been promoted to Nightstalker, so now he is the new Nightstalker, and Blue Jay has been brought into the inner circle as the new Whisper. So there has been, that slight change going on over here. Okay, let's check out the Medicine Cat Den. And Twilight Fade can only look after up to 17 cats. And right now we have, 12? Yeah, we have 12 cats. So he can still look after a few more. I think 5 more cats he can look after, which is pretty decent. But okay, let's see what's going on with these guys. But we can see she has a mangled leg. Blue Jay picks herself up out of her nest and begins the day new, so she recovered from her grief. Quiet Flight recovered from her grief. Hazelpelt was given Tansy as treatment for mangled tail, but that wasn't enough to save him. And then Rosemary was used for his body after he died. Bloompaw also recovered from her grief, but we know a whole bunch of other cats have slipped into it. Let's take a look at relationships. See if we can maybe get a timeline to see like when Hazelpelt, if he had any contact with the others before he died. Blue Jay and Fawn Nest spend a few minutes complimenting one another. Blue Jay talks with Bloompaw about some clan drama. I suppose the next negative thing to happen maybe, or I suppose the clan drama they could be talking about at this point may very well be the whole Hazelpelt dying and the battle happening and then Iris Freckle getting injured. Like, there's a lot to talk about. Let's see, Master Burnleaf includes Alfeather in a conversation that Alfeather struggled to join. So this is, I think, some father-daughter bonding, yes? During a patrol, Master Burnleaf and Sunnytail have a long conversation about their beliefs and agree on many things. So some father-son bonding happening over here. Hazelpelt keeps making excuses about something Twilight Fade wants to know. Okay, so at this point, never mind, Hazelpelt hadn't died. So I'm not sure what clan drama they're talking about just yet, but I assume it would be the next negative thing to happen. Actually, it would be this. Hazelpelt making excuses about something Twilight Fade wants to know about. Okay. So I wonder, you know what? I think Twilight Fade maybe was checking in on Hazelpelt and asking Hazelpelt how his mangled leg is doing, because Hazelpelt was injured, but he was also the Nightstalker, so he would have been treating himself. And Hazelpelt, maybe Twilight Fade could see something was wrong, but Hazelpelt kept making excuses and downplaying the severity of his injury. Twilight Fade and Owlfeather debate about something interesting. Though they disagree, they stay amicable. Shivering Star, Grandmaster Shivering Star, convinces his former fledgling Sunnytail to help him pull a prank on a clanmate. Grandmaster Shivering Star warns Master Burnleaf about something on the ground so Burnleaf doesn't trip. Quiet Flight and Grandmaster Shivering Star were supposed to be working together, but they can never agree long enough to accomplish anything. Quiet Flight can't understand why clanmates like Wolfpaw so much. Owlfeather suspects that Twilight Fade gets special treatment. Sunnytail feels a little safer when his sister Owlfeather joins him in the clearing. Their relationship has come so far from when they were younger, because Owlfeather never used to like hanging out with Sunnytail, I think. She used to look down on him a little bit, but after their sister Fire Ivy died, that kind of brought them closer together. Pine Speck is making up a new clan with Twilight Fade. Master Burnleaf says something in passing that Ibis Freckle keeps getting worked up about. I wonder if Burnleaf was also pointing out that something's not right with Hazel Pelt, but Ibis Freckle kept getting upset over that because she didn't want other cats to say that her father wasn't going to make it. Ibis Freckle, Fornest, and Twilight Fade had a nice talk while eating. Fornest stops and thinks before assuming the worst of Sunnytail. Wolfpaw suspects that Sunnytail gets special treatment. Fornest lets Bloompaw know that a clanmate was talking badly about her. And then obviously Hazel Pelt passes away. And following his death, then, according to this particular timeline, we have that battle that happened with Ibis Freckle, where Ibis Freckle got badly injured. So, okay, that's what we have for events. Let's wrap things up here and continue with the cat list. Okay, let's resume with the cat list. So first up we have loyalties. We have had changes, and it is pretty much the opposite change of what we had in the last episode. Last time, Fornest and Wolfpaw became anti-loyalists. This time around, Fornest and Wolfpaw have become loyalists again. Now with Fornest, I think his reaction might be a little bit obvious. His father was just killed by vampire hunters, or because of the injury he had from vampire hunters. His sister is now very badly injured and could very well die just like their father from, battle with the vampire hunters. So I think Fornest is feeling maybe a little bit naive, thinking they could have made peace and negotiated the end of the war with the hunters. Maybe he was blaming Shivering Star a little bit too much, and it could have very well been the vampire hunters' fault for kind of making that negotiation fail. So there's that. Now Wolfpaw, I feel like right now Wolfpaw's emotions towards Shivering Star changes according to how willing he is to fight with the vampire hunters. Obviously we had those battles in this episode, so I think Wolfpaw is feeling her faith in Shivering Star strengthened a bit more again, because Shivering Star obviously has no problem fighting with the vampire hunters at this point, and now she's thinking maybe she overreacted about him going to the negotiations anyway. So there is that. In terms of relationships, I didn't notice any significant changes between the cats. Let's go ahead, jump to Blue Jay, and do our whispering session for the day. So we have, hold on a second, Owlfeather and Pine Speck. Let's see how things go between the two of them. And Blue Jay is charismatic, so I'm kind of excited to see how she's going to be able to do things between the two of them, especially because Owlfeather is her daughter. I think Owlfeather is actually Blue Jay's favorite child, if I'm not mistaken. So this is going to be intriguing. This is her favorite child, Owlfeather. I think that is the case. I'm pretty sure that is the case. Owlfeather is her favorite child growing up, and Fire Ivy was Burnleaf's. So, yeah, let's see how she gets this going. Okay, so comfort, romantic interest, trust has increased, dislike and jealousy has decreased. So once more, I feel like I don't really see Pine Speck and Owlfeather getting distracted by each other in day-to-day life. But I think they do look forward to the familiarity of being with one another in these whispering sessions. And I think Blue Jay is also probably going to feel quite fulfilled seeing her daughter kind of find such compatibility and happiness with Pine Speck. So that ended up being really, really good. Now let's see what everyone's doing for the day. Grandmaster Shivering Star is padding back and forth across the camp. Master Burnleaf saw a yappy little dog today. Twilight Fade thinks Master Burnleaf is doing a great job as the master. And I think now that he's a step closer to being master himself, or in having that position directly above him, I think Twilight Fade realizes the gravity of maybe the decisions that Burnleaf has to make regarding the patrols and such. Blue Jay tries to set a good example for younger cats. Quiet Flight doesn't have enough toe beans to count all her friends. Oh, Quiet Flight. Quiet Flight. I mean, she says this, I'm just curious regarding this because that was a prompt. How many friends does she have? Okay, she has a lot of friends. She's got, let's see, 7. She has 7 friends, guys. And only 3 of them are family. She's got her 3 children, of course, but she's also friends with Blue Jay. She's friends with Grandmaster Shivering Star, with Twilight Fade, Burnleaf, basically everyone in the inner circle. So wow, okay, very interesting. Sunnytail wants to train. Owlfeather wonders if Twilight Fade has ever struggled with feelings of inadequacy. Okay. Pinespeck slips out of camp to visit Hazelpelt's grave. Oh, look at that. Oh, Pinespeck. Oh, Pinespeck. Thornnest doesn't think he'll ever be the same without Hazelpelt. And Iris Freckle picked the best spot in the burial grounds for Hazelpelt. Wolfpaw dutifully follows the warrior code, and Bloompaw practices her farthest leap. So I'm very, very happy that Bloompaw is now going to be able to participate in life as a fledgling. And in terms of rankings, let's take a quick look. That wasn't very unexpected. Wolfpaw has 28 experience, and Bloompaw is 23. So actually, if we think about it, I feel like given that they're now entering the second half of their training, and Bloompaw pretty much didn't train for the first half, I think she must be quite talented because it seems as though she's like catching up very quickly. But now the decision her mentor makes regarding her patrols is going to maybe determine whether or not she's able to surpass her sister. But okay, that's all we have for the cat list. Let me wrap things up here and we'll continue with patrols. Okay, we are resuming with our patrols. We currently have 98 prey and we need 31. And oh, it's so odd not having Hazelpelt as the Nightstalker. It feels so odd not seeing Hazelpelt, Nightstalker, about to go out. No, we'll send out Twilight Fade, the Nightstalker. And he would definitely understand the loss of Hazelpelt and what his family is going through because not too long ago he lost Lightsong himself. But okay, let's send him out and see what he gets up to. Our troublesome Nightstalker who's good at fighting and hunting. There's a limited selection of herbs Twilight Fade can even look for in Leaf Bear, but if he can remember where the wild garlic grew in Greenleaf, it's his for the taking. Proceed. One of the things you really don't want in Leaf Bear is an infection, and that's garlic's stinky specialty for treating. After a long, exhausting day in the cold, Twilight Fade manages to bring back a good haul of their bulbs for the herb stores. So wild garlic was gathered, and now we're gonna have, a patrol of 6 and a patrol of 1. So let's see what the mentors decide this time around. Okay. Well, apparently both mentors, both Owlfeather and Pinespeck, feel as though, I think Pinespeck, he's keeping his apprentice Bloompaw very close to him in a safe patrol, in a big patrol. But I think he also probably asked his mate Owlfeather for help with Bloompaw because he feels as though she's very far behind. She's missed out on half her fledglinghood, as we discussed beforehand, and I think he would appreciate, some assistance with catching her up. Now, Owlfeather has made the very brave decision to let Wolfpaw go on a patrol entirely on her own. But we'll see how Wolfpaw does, especially given that she has not listened to her mentor beforehand and almost, followed the trail of something dangerous. And luckily, at that time, it didn't mean anything, but obviously, she doesn't seem to have a nose for sticking out of danger. But I think Alfeather would maybe give Wolfpaw very strict instructions to stay very close to camp and maybe just patrol the perimeter of camp and nowhere else. But I don't know if Wolfpaw would listen to that. But okay, let's send out our patrol of 6 and see how things go over here. Grandmaster Shivering Star heads out with a group of his clanmates to go train. Proceed. It's not that they do anything remarkable together, but that's not the point. Instead, the purpose of this training is to get out of camp and amongst his clanmates, and it's important for Grandmaster Shivering Star to do so as often as possible. So a very safe training session for Bloompaw, and then we have Wolfpaw going out, so let's see what she gets up to. As Wolfpaw is checking the borderlines, she hears an odd sound coming from just beyond a rockfall. Proceed. Oh my goodness. Wolfpaw takes the lead in checking the source of the noise and comes face to face with a snarling wolverine. Wolfpaw yowls for help, but she is alone on this patrol, and she has the sudden realization that no one can help her now. The wolverine kills the lone cat with little trouble. Wolfpaw died. No. No, Wolfpaw! We were like so stressed about vampire hunters. We didn't even consider that she could have died by a wolverine. But this is what I was talking about. I feel sad that that Wolfpaw has passed away, but it kind of feels fitting for her character. It feels fitting because, just like I was saying, Wolfpaw in the past has not followed instructions from Owlfeather, and Wolfpaw has, gone off to investigate things that Owlfeather wanted them to back away from, because danger, Wolfpaw, her sense of morality and righteousness is way too strong, and she always feels as though the right thing to do is to kind of solve the mystery and get rid of the danger so another cat doesn't get in trouble. That's a way of protecting her family. And this time around, when she was on her own and she was told to stick close to camp, she obviously maybe caught the scent, or she heard the sounds of, something strange. Maybe she thought, okay, camp is here, but just a little bit further I can get some food for my family. Did hunting, and then heard a strange noise and thought, okay, let's just check out the noise in case it's something dangerous. And ended up being dangerous. She overestimated herself and unfortunately ended up dying from that. This must be so traumatic for Bloompaw. She only just came out of grief over her mother to start training, and the moon she starts training as a fledgling is the moon her sister dies. And I wonder if now Bloompaw is gonna feel guilty because the whole reason Wolfpaw was sent out on her own was because her mentor, Pinespeck, asked Wolfpaw's mentor, whatchamacallit? I'm blanking. Owlfeather. Yeah, he asked Wolfpaw's mentor, Owlfeather, to help out with Bloompaw's training, to help catch up Bloompaw. That's why her sister Wolfpaw was left alone. Oh, this is rotten. This is terrible. This is terrible, terrible, terrible. And Bloompaw, she has her 25 experience. If her sister had come back from that, there was no way she would have caught up to her sister. And I was not expecting Bloompaw to graduate as best of her batch because her sister dies. Oh, that's rough. That is so wild. That just blows my mind, guys, because when they were born, obviously, Bloompaw, she had kitten cough. We were expecting Bloompaw to be the one to die. I was never, ever, ever worried about Wolfpaw. Like, ever. And then suddenly now, that's happened. Oh, my goodness. I mean, Light Song passing away was unexpected when we were expecting something to happen to Bloompaw. And then we weren't even expecting something to happen to flippin' Wolfpaw. Now she's passed away. So that means we've pretty much had... Oh, this is terrible. This is terrible. This is terrible. Because now Twilight Fade is mourning the death of his daughter. And his favorite daughter too. like he was closest to, or he favored Wolfpaw, but recently I think he's been giving more attention to Bloompaw because he wanted to help fill the void that Bloompaw would have felt from Lightsong, and I wonder if he also is now feeling guilty for maybe not being there enough for Wolfpaw. And like guiding her, making it so that she kind of felt as though maybe she needed to take revenge on the vampire hunters, or, you know, she had something to prove, or she had to step up to defend her family and protect her family because her family was kind of falling apart in front of her eyes. Oh, that's terrible. I can't say it enough. This is just so bad. So we basically had 2 deaths. We had 2 deaths this moon. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well guys, with that said and done, I am gonna leave off here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.